Hello, everyone. We're going to give you guys a moment or so to come in. My name is Nicole Bonds, and I am all things Project Live, as you can probably see, or you'll see in the next few moments. You guys take a moment and come on in, and I will speak to you guys once you come in. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hey, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. But not typically going to come on during this time, but I have something that I definitely want. I just wanted to take a moment and chat with you guys. Hello, Misty. Hey, hey, hey. Good to have you on. Good to have you on. Good morning. Hey, cuz. Oh, Shania, how are you? Good morning to you. Hope you're well. Come on in, guys. Let me get the word out to some people that may not be on. I think that's better. There we go. Hello, Jeanette. Guys, will you come in and say hello so that I can speak back to you? Hello, Sandra. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to each of you guys. Well, I'm not going to take a long time. Oh, my goodness. I miss you too. It's been a long time. I pray you and the family are doing good. Give everybody my love, okay? Hey, guys. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Shonda. Hey, hey, hey. Let me make sure I can see. I think this is good. So I am going to go ahead and get started because I know that people will go back and watch this a little bit later. And when they watch it, they'll get an opportunity to go through all of these wonderful things. If you don't mind, help me get this word out, share this with someone, let them know that we're on. That would be great. But for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and share, and then we're going to go from there. So yesterday I had, and many of you guys may have seen my post that I posted on social media. It would have been 25 years that I would have been married. Hold the applause. But I would have been married 25 years as of yesterday. And as I was reflecting on the day, I just began. I'm very reflective anyway, and I reflect a lot depending on certain days of the year. Hello, Dora. And one of the things that I noticed as I was reflecting, I was reminded again of things that I wish I knew or wish I had paid attention to prior to getting married. And so I think on the cusp of what would have been 25 years, but now being divorced almost 10 years, grace and peace to you, Pastor. Um, I knew that I really just wanted to share my thoughts. And as I was thinking through it, I was thinking about, man, not only are there things that I wish I knew, but I also recently had an interaction for the first time in over 10 years with my ex-husband. And, I'm not one of those people that hide things. And, some of you are newer to following me. And so you may not know about my journey, but I was married for over 15 years and got married very early at 21, right out of college. And didn't know a lot, even though I grew up with parents. I grew up with two people, two parents in the home. They were married 29 years before my mother passed, and so I was very accustomed to being in a home with parents that, with marriage, seeing the highs and the lows of what it takes. But one of the things that I really thought about was how I don't how long it took me to process through certain things. And I want to say this to those of you all that maybe have been through divorce, going through divorce, separated, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just interested in knowing. Maybe you're single, never been married, and you just want to know more information, or you may just want to hear more insight from those who have been. And so I have this thing where I know what it means to be single. I know what it means to be married. I know what it means to be separated. I know what it means to be divorced. Now double digit years. Married double digit years, single double digit years. And so I understand a lot of the highs and lows that comes with that. And as I was really just thinking through everything, I just shared my heart with so many with you guys yesterday, and it was a vulnerable point for me. And as I began sharing, I noticed that there were those of you all that it really resonated with. Not only did it really resonate with, I had inboxes from people saying, "Oh my goodness, this is my story. Something about what you talked about was something that I needed. I'm in the process right now of working through this or that." And I just heard from so many different people about their own personal journeys of walking through, the highs and lows of relationships. And so I was just, like, man, this is a whole thing. And when I say it's a whole thing, I mean, there are a lot of people who are, I call it suspended in brokenness. Suspended in brokenness. People that are, don't know how to move forward, don't know what it takes, don't really have the resources or the mental wherewithal to stop long enough to heal, or to slow down long enough to heal. There's so many dynamics to that. And my heart just went out yesterday, and it's been still going out to those who have been having, working through those battles. And so I think I may have even named this, "It Broke Me." And for going through a divorce, and some people ask details. If you read my first book, Comfortable in Chaos, I share a lot about my journey into that, how I even we ended up getting separated, how I ended up going through with the divorce and all those things. And while there's a lot of speculation about what was and what wasn't, there's always the truth. And it wasn't a hatred. It wasn't, "Oh my gosh, I hate you," and now this was none of that. It was literally about me getting to the place where I was willing to do what it was that God was calling me to do. And I knew something about me that there are times, and some of you guys may also be able to attest to this, there are times when we are more loyal to people than we are to God. And this is not about the other persons. This is about us, that we can be more loyal to what people need from us than than us giving God what he wants. And I need you guys to know that when God wants something from you, hate to break it to you, I don't know if you guys are still with me because I ain't seen nobody really interact with me, but let me just say, when God wants something from you, there you go. I see you guys coming in. When God wants something from you, he's going to get it. When God wants something from you, he's going to get it. And for me, it was a life event. It was me going through various things. Hello, good morning to you guys. I see you guys coming in. It was me going through various things, such as divorce, that really helped me really get to the place of who I was. Good morning. Hey, niece. I recognized something about me that I did not fully understand and was not fully aware of my depth. I wasn't fully aware of my purpose. I wasn't fully aware. Good morning, guys. For those of you all that are tuning in, if you don't mind, share this broadcast with someone. I wasn't aware of a lot of things about myself. And so when you go into a relationship, you go into a long-term relationship, or it ends up being a long-term relationship, and you have not fully grasped who you are or who you're becoming, it is a recipe for disaster. If you're not careful, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for, like a lot of being misunderstood, a lot of not knowing, not being able to sometimes even communicate what it is that you need, not really setting the boundaries that you need, not really understanding that although you are married, you still are an individual. And I think sometimes we're so busy saying, the two should become one. That's true, but we not walking in hand in hand like a relay race going to the job. We have to, that we're not, although that oneness has to do with a spiritual component or of what you can do together, but there's still there's two individuals in that marriage. And I think sometimes people are not aware of that, and they lose their identity. And if you didn't know who you were before you went into that relationship, guess what? It's even worse if you're not careful and you don't have someone who identifies that in you and helps you through that process. And that can happen as well, but it doesn't happen for everyone. And so as I was sharing my heart yesterday about, let me just pull it up for a moment because some of you may or may not have seen it, my post from yesterday. And so for those of you that may not have seen it, I will share a little bit about what I said. I said 25 years ago today, I got married. That was yesterday. Although this is not an anniversary post because we've been divorced for almost 10 years, it is a post to remind someone that there is life after divorce. Nothing and no one could have prepared me for the highs and lows of it all. I recently saw my ex-husband for the first time in over 10 years, and we were cordial, although I spoke first. And that wasn't a shade. That wasn't a moment to throw shade. It was, I think it was odd. Like, I don't know, should I speak first? Should I not? And so finally, I just called his name and said, hey, so you're going to speak, kind of deal. And we sort of went back and forth on that. But it's crazy how you can spend so much of your life planning with someone who becomes someone you used to know. And I found myself in that moment, seeing someone who I was married to for double-digit years or 15 years, who I had not seen in 10 years, who I know, but I didn't know, if that makes sense. Like, I knew then, but this is a person who's evolved, done all kinds of things in the last 10 years. So if I know I'm not the person I was 10 years ago, and so, and 11 years ago. And so it was a moment, and I didn't know how it would be, but it was a moment I knew it would happen eventually. And so as I said, let me keep going. Yet I don't have any sob stories today because I have learned so much about myself since the divorce. I realized that because I love hard, I must set healthy boundaries to be able to always advocate for myself. That is something that I cannot stress enough, is being able to set healthy boundaries and knowing these are my boundaries, right? These are things that I can't go outside of. These are things that help me flourish. These are things that help me grow. These are things that help me be my best. And that is not the other person's job. That is your responsibility to ensure that you are sharing your heart and what you want and what you desire. And some of us just do not communicate what we want. We would rather them assume, and then that's how a lot of issues come. And so I said, I must set healthy boundaries to be able to always advocate for myself. That was something I didn't do well going into the marriage. And then I said, here are 5 things I wish I had known before I got married. Some of you guys on the post, you were sort of commenting on which one sort of stuck out with you. And number 1, I said, if you don't know your worth, you allow others to determine your value, and that's tricky. And once again, if you don't know who you are, if you don't have a proper perspective of the value that you have, you are not going to, if you don't have someone who can pull that out of you, then they can determine, well, you're only worth this and you only deserve that. And when that's the case, you're not, and you don't advocate for yourself, it's not going to be good. Right? And it's going to take something to jar you and get you from that place. Number 2, it says being a good spouse is not enough to keep your spouse happy if the root of that happiness doesn't come from within. Now, I could have got super deep and said, if it doesn't come from God and all of that, I could have said that. But ultimately, we know that, God is our source. We get that. But if it does not come within, a lot of times we get in relationships and we're so busy trying to make the other person happy, or that other person is trying to make us happy. Are you guys still with me? I don't see nobody comment, so I just want to make sure that there's not an issue with this technology. So just every once in a while, send a thumbs up. So far, 9 of you all have hearted. So some of y'all just on here sitting and you ain't saying nothing. Y'all need to talk to me. That way I know, because I want to be impactful, but I'm sharing my heart, and I want to make sure that I am okay. I just want to make sure that you guys are still able to hear me, and I'm not just talking and you guys can't hear me, or that there's some issues, because I've had some earlier. So when you're good morning, everyone. When you're at a place where you are trying to make someone else happy, it's not gonna work. You cannot, and I want to go on record and say this, and so you can argue with me, or you can try to argue with me. I'm not gonna argue with you, but you cannot make someone happy. You may do something that gives them a happy moment. You may, maybe even happy moments, but you cannot make a person happy. And people say, you may be so happy. Well, yeah, but that's conditional, because the minute that I don't do what it is that you want me to do, then I'm no longer then I no longer make you happy. And vice versa, no one can make you happy if you are not happy within. Does that make sense? Good morning, everyone. No one can make you happy if you're not happy within. If that happiness, if that joy does not come from within, if that doesn't come from your source, God, then no one else can do that. And so many people get into relationships looking for someone to make them happy, or I'm going to make them happy. And you think because you make them happy that marriage is going to just flow off that pure happiness. No. You can get cheated on and be making them happy, because happiness is conditional. It's predicated on other things, right? When I do this makes me happy, right? When I get a day off, that makes me happy. When I go on vacation, that makes me happy. When I get paid, that makes me happy. When I get a manicure, pedicure, that makes me happy. When I see my family, that makes me happy. But what happens when there is no event to attach to the happiness? What happens? What happens what happens when you go through a season where there's not a lot of fun things happening? Are you going to be unhappy during that time because the certain things that you want are not happening for you? No. That happiness has to come from within. So I go back and say, back to the post that I made yesterday, number 2, being a good spouse is not enough to keep your spouse happy if the root of that happiness doesn't come from within. Now, out of my own reservoir, right, of my joy, and for me, God being my source, out of the love, this sheer love that He has for me, and that I feel that exudes from out of me, and from all the things that He's done for me, and the beautiful people that He's put around me, and the beautiful opportunities that He's given me, and so many different things. Like, that's great. But at the end of the day, my happiness can be predicated on events, and it can be predicated on people, and it cannot be predicated on places. Your happiness, somebody put this in the chat, my happiness cannot be based on a noun. Not now, it can be it can be based on God. But I'm talking about these just regular lowercase N-O-U-N, them regular nouns. It's not going to happen. It can't be predicated on that. And so for those that are trying, and maybe it's not a marriage, maybe you've just been in a relationship and you're like, man, I don't feel like you don't make me happy anymore. This relationship doesn't make me happy anymore. Well, that's the problem. I see you guys. Thank you. That's the problem. That's the problem. You're trying to become happy or make someone happy based on what it is that you do for them. And y'all know how they go. The minute that stops, the happiness goes away. Right? And that is not going to divorce-proof your marriage or your relationship. It doesn't mean that relationship is going to stick and stay just because you guys are having fun. It doesn't work that way. So if two people do not find that contentment within themselves, then they're not going to do it for each other, not for long term. Number 3, being the total package. And when I say that, I'm not saying being perfect. I'm saying having your stuff together, right, is more than what some are looking for. You have to take in consideration that there are some people that you are just too much for. Thank you, niece. Some people you are just too much for. Now, this is not even just about relationships now. I'm just saying, just in all honesty, there are people in your life or that you've interacted with, who you're just too much for. You're not too much. Hear me. You're not too much. You're just too much for them. Let me keep reading that from the post that I made yesterday. Being the total package is more than what some are looking for. You'll go unfulfilled if you're waiting on them to acknowledge what they don't have the capacity for. There are people who just do not have the capacity to love you the way that you desire to be loved. Can we park right there? There are those people that you love, that love you, that want to be around you, that think you're pretty cool, but they do not have the capacity that you need, that you desire, And you have to be honest with that. Some of us go into connections and relationships, and this is not about just romantic relationships. Some of us go into these connections knowing that we're having this feeling of this is not enough, this is not enough, or this doesn't fulfill me. It does not mean that, okay, it's like, I have my coffee mug. I also have my life water, right? Two different containers. Two different capacities. Does that mean that this mug doesn't have value because it's not made up or it doesn't have the same capacity as this bottle? No. This bottle has value. This bottle can hold water or a substance or beverage, liquid. This mug can contain, right? But I can't run down the street real quick with this in my hand and expect the contents that's inside this mug to still be in this mug when I get to my destination. But now this has a lid on it that I can take on and off. And guess what? If I need to make a run, it has a different level of capacity. They have different functions, different capabilities. And I want you to think about this. I'm not saying that I'm not reducing you to a mug or a bottle. What I'm saying is that a lot of us have felt rejected within ourselves because we have found ourselves in places among people, even in job spaces, in educational spaces, in family spaces, in church settings, all kinds of places, in relationships, in friendships, connections, whatever it is. We found ourselves in places where we felt rejected because someone did not have a capacity to love us or treat us the way that we maybe treat them or desire. And you've got to stop. After you've done your own self-evaluation and introspectively look within to see, am I bringing what I need to bring to the table? Then you got to understand, wait a minute, is it possible that I am wanting something out of someone, oh my goodness, that I can't get? I have this fan, right? I have this fan, wonderful fan. I love this fan. And older I get, I turn it on a little more, right? I have this fan. I love it. It's portable. I can take it around with me, right? But if I want heat, this device does not have the ability to give me heat. It doesn't matter what I do. It does not have that capacity. It was not made with that function. Some of us are getting upset at the fan for not giving us heat. We're upset because people in our lives are not giving us what it is that we think we deserve, and then we feel rejected, we feel devalued, we feel less than, we start diminishing, we start we start dumbing ourselves down so that we can take whatever we can get, in a sense. And I don't mean that in desperation, but is it desperation? And so some people just do not have the capacity to love you the way that you desire. Some people don't have the capacity to be the friend that you need or the friend that you are to them. They just don't have it. And when we stop being upset with people for not having the capacity that they just don't have, this is what you have to do. You have to decide, is the capacity that they have enough for me? And I've said this many times as I've been talking to different people, counseling people over the years. If this person doesn't change at all, if this person never changes, is this enough for you? And if you cannot unequivocally say that if this man cannot love me more than he loves me now, this is what I understand that, and I will love him with the love of God. God will make up the difference. You got to make that. I'm just going to be honest. You're going to have to make that decision, because a lot of people, you start dating someone who's has a capacity. They never showed they had that more capacity than that. I don't care what they said, but they never showed they had more capacity. Then you get into a long-term relationship with them and you realize, uh-oh, what I saw was what I saw. What I understood was what I understood. And they are only going to become more of who they are unless there's some kind of divine intervention or some kind of, they're going to become more of who they are. So it takes me to number 4 on the post that I made yesterday. Red flags show up early, but your desperation to make something more than it is will have you relationally colorblind. Red flags always show up early. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is, they show up. We just don't see them because of our need, our desire, our want. We want this to work. We put so much pressure on it working that we just say, oh, that's just probably because they had a bad day. Oh, it's probably because, something didn't work out. It's probably because somebody said this. And so we keep making excuses for why things are happening, only to realize, right? Only to realize that, who they were was who they were. All right? And so what happens is we see red flags, but we see red flags so long that they no longer alert us that it's a red flag. And we become what I call relationally colorblind. We stop seeing the signs that are there until it hits us in the face, until it blows up on us, until it becomes something, that we didn't want. But the warning signs, the red flags were there. You may say, well, I'm not intentionally ignoring the red flags, but you're also wanting this to work so bad that you will, you'll make some adjustments if you need to so that you can stay in this place because you want this to work more than it has the capability to work, but you want it, right? And so have you become relationally colorblind? Even in friendships, do you recognize that that's really a frenemy instead of a friend? Do you recognize those little curt comments that they make is really them throwing shade? Is really them having an issue with you, but you laughing it off like, oh, that's just my friend. The red flags are always there. Always there. Hello? They're always there. But you have to make up in your mind that I'm no longer going to ignore the red flags that are in front of me. I'm no longer going to act as if it's not there. And I'll be honest, I really have this thing within me that I want to think the best about a person. Like, I don't care what you tell me about a person. I don't care what I've heard about a person. I don't care what I've read about a person. When I meet a person for them. I don't like to deduct from my thoughts about a person based on what you said about them. I like to meet people for myself. And I have been pleasantly surprised over the years at some of the people who I don't have an issue with, who people told me, you're not going to like them. They're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I had some people that warned me, and it was exactly what they said. But I didn't feel it was fair. I take those into consideration, but I don't think it's fair to treat someone a kind of way because you had a bad experience with them. I can't. Now, if you tell me they steal, and the viral post is going, she steal. If you tell me she steal, now I'm not fitting to, I'm not necessarily going to say, hey, can you own my purse till I get back? We're not doing that. But at the same token, I'm not going to not have an interaction with them because, you told me something. So I'm not saying that. So I'm just saying me personally, I'm a person that likes to give people 100. I start everybody with 100. I don't care what you did. I'm going to start you with 100. Right? And I let you, and I don't mean that from a place of every time you do something, I'm deducting. I'm not saying that. But my point is I don't like to do that. But I'm saying in that same scenario, I really want to see people win. I really want people to be good and amazing. And I really want people that's one of my things. I really want people to be all that God wants them to be. Not all that I want them to be, but I want them to be all that God wants them to be. And so I'm always sort of trying to, encourage people and in any way that I can. I'll encourage a stranger if I think that it'll help them in that moment. And I'm not fluffing them up. I really see good in people. But also, if I'm not careful, because of my desire to see them win and my desire to see them do so well and my desire for them to come out on top, that I will, well, maybe they didn't mean that. Maybe they didn't mean that after all. Maybe they just this, and maybe they did. But at what point does that maybe they becomes a pattern? At what point does that, wait a minute, this is no longer a isolated situation. This is something that is a pattern. This is a habit. This is habitual. This is them. This is personality. This is the way that they function. This is their ideology. This is their way of doing things. And at that point, what do you do? And I'm saying that we become relationally colorblind when we start to ignore the flags and we're not willing to communicate. We have to be willing to confront things. There are some of you all that are watching me right now and you just do not like confronting people. But then this is what you do though. You go from 0 to 100 when you're fed up. You go from 0 to 100 instead of when you got to 25 within yourself saying, you know what? I may need to have a conversation with this person to say, hey, you know, when you did this, this made me feel this way. When you did that, right? When you made that comment to me about such and such or this or that, that made me feel a kind of way. And if I be honest with you, this is just my scenario with you. If I be honest with you, that caused me to question some things. And I don't want to feel that I'm questioning without giving you an opportunity to share your heart. And so I don't, I could have misinterpreted what you meant. But when you said this, bop, 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 I took that to mean this, bop, 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 right? Whatever that is. Could you tell me what your perspective is on it? What were your thoughts? Is that what you meant? Okay, I see you guys in the comments. Is that what you meant? Well, you know, I didn't mean it that way. I honestly thought, you know, when I said it, I meant this. Okay, I'm so glad I brought it up because I didn't want to be battling within myself, wondering, was this something going on between us if it wasn't? So thank you for sharing that moment of clarity. And I make a vow to you that in the future, you know, and I ask you to do the same. When you hear me say something that just doesn't sit well with you, please say something to me because I want to be sure that this relationship means something to me, right? This connection means something to me. And I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do and that we're doing what we need to do to continue to make this, you know, to continue for this relationship to be what it is, right? Now, flip side. Right. The flip side is, hey, did you mean that? I absolutely meant that because I'm sick of this and I'm sick of that. So that's different. Okay. So I'm what I'm hearing you say is that you have an issue with this when I do this. Yes, I have an issue with that. Okay. And then that goes into that, and then you work through that, whatever that is. But we've got to stop ignoring things. And I admit, I don't ignore things, but there have been times in my past I'm like, you know what? Now this just made me mad, and I'm not, you know, I don't really know how I'm going to respond to that. So I'm going to just back away from that, right? And that may be times when you need to do that, but don't let that be the reason why you don't confront and you don't deal with things and you don't talk things out, because that is a part of relationship building. Okay, let me keep going. I'm almost done. Number 5 on the post that I made yesterday is good chemistry, great sex, and dreaming about better days don't pay the bills. When you're broke, every day seems cloudy. This is just my personal testimony. Yes, Damaris, absolutely. I know about that justifying other people's behavior, right? You need that balance, Damaris. You need that balance. You need him. You need your husband to be like, no, babe, it ain't that. You know, you need that, right? But so this post is my personal story or my personal perspective on this is when you're struggling financially in a marriage and that struggle turns into a year, 2, 3. I'm not talking about the your highs and lows of just what relationships go through. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about when it becomes cyclical, right? Cyclical. You know, every year, same thing, you know, same issues, same whatever. Every day seems cloudy. Every day, you know, that's how it was for me. You know, you know, ain't no sunshine when there ain't no money. That's how I felt, you know, when there ain't no resources there. And I'm one of those people that, you know, it has to make sense to me in a sense, you know, it just has to make sense. And so I'm just sharing from my own perspective that it's not enough to just have some good chemistry. Oh, we just really vibe together, and you know, I finish his thoughts, he finishes mine, and you know, or even the fact that you got, you know, there's a, you know, amazing sex and all those things, because you know that's a whole thing. And of course we're not condoning premarital sex. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, you know, some people say, well, we have this and we have that and we have this, and you know, and then we're dreaming together and we make plans together and we envision this together and that. But there's also parts of that relationship where there has got to be two people that are working together to make this relationship be able to go forward, even in financial ways, right? So if you got two people in a relationship and one is always making it happen, doing whatever needs to be done, getting 2 jobs, getting 3 jobs, Ubering on the side, door dashing, you know, braiding hair on the side, doing all these different things, or maybe he's cutting hair on the side, he's cutting your, you know, maybe he's doing lawns and all kinds of stuff, and then the other person, there's no big, you know, the other person's like, well, you know, I'm really not going to contribute because with the way I came to this, I wasn't working, and so I don't think I should have to work. Like that you guys got to come together on that, because I have realized that in relationships, just being married for double-digit years, that it's going to go through highs and lows, and sometimes one person will be carrying most of it, another time another person may be carrying most of it. Sometimes it may be neck and neck. Sometimes it may be flourishing. Sometimes it may be lean. But you got to know how to work together and be able to have those conversations. I cannot stress that enough. Somebody need this. You got to be willing to have a conversation. You can't be slamming cabinets and slamming car doors and, you know, going on strike, going on strike. And, you know, not cooking or not cleaning or doing little things that you know they don't like because you got an issue. You got to be able to talk through things. And you got to recognize when it's just capacity. Some people, can we just say that in relationships, and this is any kind of relationship, there are times when we recognize that either we don't have the capacity for who it is we are in connection with, or they don't have the capacity. You got to be able to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I don't have the capacity to love them the way that they need or they desire, or they don't have the capacity, and this is why. Don't just say it, but why. I'm not saying don't pray about it, but you can pray all day long for this fan. But if this fan ain't gonna become a heater because you want it to be a heater, this is a fan. You can pray all day long for this water bottle. Let me turn it around because they ain't giving me no money for this. You can pray all day long, I still did it, for this water bottle, but it ain't gonna become a mug. So I'm just saying that to say some of us are wasting time and energy praying about stuff when it's just what it is. Can y'all handle that this morning? I know that may not be what you wanted to hear, but you got to just be honest about what it really is. And so when I wrote this post yesterday, man, I don't even have time. I don't even think I'm going to get into right now. I think I'm going to say that for part B. I'm going to come back to y'all a little later. Maybe I'll come back and talk about the whole dating thing. I don't have time to deal with that today. All right, now, I'm just going to say that these are red flags. That post that I made yesterday, it helped so many people. I had so many inboxes. And so I want to say to you, I hope you guys have enjoyed my little TED Talk. my little Nicole talk. Um, but it blessed me to know that my vulnerability blessed. Thank you. That my vulnerability blessed others because I want to share with you. I want to help as many people as I can. But I wanted to help somebody. I don't want to just be sharing to be sharing. Some people just be sharing their business, just be sharing. We're not doing that. I grew up in a home where we said what happens in this house stays in this house. So if I'm finna share with you what happens in this house, I'm gonna need to know that somebody's like gonna help somebody. And so that is really why I posted. And so that also made me think about something that I did last year that I haven't done in over a year. And I thought, man, this is a good time for me to bring this back around. And so I'm super excited. And I'm telling you guys first, I'm going to post after this and I'll be talking about it for the next couple of weeks and maybe even more. But one of the things that I said in my post is that there is truly life after divorce. And when I say that, I mean life after divorce, life after separation, life after a long-term relationship doesn't become what you thought it was going to. Maybe that relationship got downgraded. Maybe it was on its way to marriage and then it turned into breakup or pause, whatever it is. But there's life after that. I am a living witness because I've lived that life. You can still live, you can still be vibrant, have this vibrant life. You can still do all that God has called you to do, even though your relationship status may not be what you desire. And so many people are waiting on the back burner for the relationship status to change so they can do this or be that. And I'm telling you, don't wait on that to get your healing, your wholeness. One of the things that I recognized from my post yesterday is that some people are suspended. You know how a person can be suspended in air or something can be suspended in air. I think about the circus, the acrobats. But there are some people that are suspended in brokenness. And you want to come out of this place, but you've just not been able to. And I'm number one, I'm praying for you because I know that that's not an easy place to be in. But I've got some stuff in my arsenal. I got some more stuff I can talk about. I just ain't gonna talk about it publicly because some folk just nosy. I'm not fitting to just share my stuff like that. But I do want to help some people who really need to say, Nicole, like they really is like, Nicole, if that's true, if there's really life after this bad breakup, life after divorce, life after separation, life after whatever, any kind of relationship breakup. If it's life after that, I need proof. I need help. I need help getting from point A to point. I need help getting from point brokenness to point whole, to point brokenness to point healed. I need help getting there. And I want you to know that I'm here to help you. I am going to be in the next couple of weeks, 2 weeks from now, almost 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks. I'm going to be offering, I'm going to offer again my 30-day program called Life After Divorce. And it is a 30-day journey of healing, wholeness, and restoration. A 30-day journey of healing, wholeness, and restoration. And so I'm sharing with you guys first. I know it's only a few people on, but you guys are going to get it first. But this is what I'm doing because I recognize this program is not for everybody, right? There is a cost associated, but I can tell you that it will be well worth it because what you could have gotten, what you would probably not get in over 6 months of, trying to do it a different way, you're going to get in a month, in 30 days. You are going to be able during this 30 days, you're going to get 4 sessions with me in a small group virtually. You're going to get some daily accountability, some soul detox activities. If you've not heard of soul detoxing, that's something that I believe in. Believe it or not, it helped me with my weight loss, soul detoxing. And so I'm going to be doing some soul detoxing sessions with you guys. This will be a special Q&A session. So you can just ask your questions. It's confidential. I do a vow at the beginning for anybody who's a part of it. But like, I double dog dare you to share something that we talk about it here, right? We don't do that. We don't judge people in the group because you're going to have people from the whole gamut. Sometimes the other person did them wrong. Sometimes they were the person who did the other person wrong. So we're not doing that, right? But you're going to hear me share some very candid moments of my own life. I did this last year, a little over a year ago, with a group of people, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And some of them may be able to attest to that they're on here. But I want to offer it. It's going to be going on June the 25th through July the 25th. So it's just 1 month, okay? And so it's Life After Divorce. But this is what I want to do, just so I can make sure I got the right people. I'm going to be doing a free discovery call, which is like a 5 to 10 minute call, Zoom, with any person. If you are a person that is interested in being a part of this group, small group of Life After Divorce, small group with me, and taking this 30-day journey with me, I want you to inbox me and tell me that you want to do a discovery call with me, because that will help me know whether I feel like you're a good fit for the program or not. And when I say that, meaning if you're a person that really doesn't have a relational breakup of some kind, I may say, hey, well, maybe I think this will be better for you. I just want to be able to offer you the right things. And I don't want to just throw you into this program if this is not what you need. But if you know anyone who is going through a bad breakup, who is going through a divorce, who's going through separation, who's going through just maybe not even marriage, but it's just a long-term relationship that ended in heartbreak or ended abruptly, whatever. It could even be someone who ended up being widowed. It was unexpected or what have you. If you know anyone, and that could be you, to say, hey, Nicole Bonds is doing this 30-day Life After Divorce program, and she's doing free discovery calls. It doesn't cost you anything. It's 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not going to ask you your life history while we're talking. I'm going to be very strict on the time because I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to share my heart with you about whatever it is you say, and then I'm going to say, hey, I think this is a good program for you, or I don't. So for those of you all that are interested in doing this, say for instance, you say, hey, okay, I love it. Like I stated, there is a cost associated for the time, for the resources, all the things that I'm going to be sharing. I can tell you that this program, it could be a lot more expensive, but I can tell you that I want to say that it's very inexpensive, right? Like very inexpensive, right? It's going to bless your life. And so if you are interested, now some of you say, hey, I don't need a discovery call, right? I know you, I trust you, I know I'm supposed to be in it. I've been waiting for you to launch it or relaunch it. I don't need no discovery call. I just need to get into class. I need to get in this 30-day journey with you. If that's you, you can go to my website, www.nicolebonds.com, and you could just register, right? And there is an incentive. You get $50 off if you pay in full within the day, like the same day you register, you get $50 off. If you don't, you can make payments on it while we're in class. So some of you all may need that. But if you know anyone that's interested in life after divorce or life after separation, life after a breakup, life after, what have you, any of those things, please, please, please reach out to me. I would love to start scheduling those free discovery calls. The class starts on June the 25th. It's not really class. It's really like group therapy in a sense. I would go on record. I'm not a licensed therapist. So when I say that, I have a master's in counseling, a master's in pastoral counseling. And so from a ministry standpoint, I'm able to do what I do, but I'm not doing psychological evaluations and all those things. So I need to put that disclaimer out there. So you just put a deposit down and you can get in the class. It's that simple. Get in the group. So if you know anyone that's interested, reach out. Okay. Thank you guys for listening to my Nicole Talk today. I hope it's blessed you. For those of you all that caught the replay, I hope that you were blessed by this. I can't wait to hear from you guys. I'm expecting you guys to reach out. Let me know if this is something that will benefit you. Also, I'm going to be sharing the flyer right after this. I need every one of you all that are listening to me right now. Would y'all do me a favor? Would you go to my page right after this? And when you see me put that flyer up, would you share this flyer, even if it's not for you? Say, hey, write a little blurb on why you think people should sign up for it. Like, be honest about it. But if you believe in what it is that I do and you want to see people get from that suspended place of brokenness and get them out of that place, I've got a 30-day supernatural journey for people. Life after divorce, life after separation, life after a bad breakup. I can help you. All right. Listen, guys, I love you all so much. I can't wait to see what God does next. Project Leah, baby, watch me or join me. Take care.